So the next question I would like to move on is the question which is already is right here on the screen. You can see that it's from Nishant from New Delhi. So Nishant says, how does one deal with the boss who's a chain smoker? I'm aware that smoking is a personal choice, but when my boss speaks during meeting or in a one-on-one conversation, I find it very irritating. It also happens that we become passive smokers when we have a conversation outside over a cup of tea. Now, Nishant, I can understand your feeling out here because end of the day, right? There are two things out here which I would like to kind of bring it up to your notice. One is a boss who's a chain smoker. Now, the moment a boss is a chain smoker, believe me, he or she would be stepping out of office every, at least in a span of 8 to 10 hours, probably for about an hour, because every 10 minutes break he or she takes, probably anything about 8 to 10 cigarettes, you can do the calculation. Now, why I'm telling you this, because yes, at one time I was a smoker too. And I know that every 1 hour after every meeting, we used to just go out and have a smoke and come back. And that was about a decade back. It's a different story for me now for the simple reason I've been completely nicotine free from the last 10 years. So, Nishan, I can feel your pain when you say that your boss is a chain smoker. And of course, you rightly said, smoking is a personal choice. But what you highlighted here, Nishant, in your question is, when my boss speaks during meeting or one-on-one conversation, you find it very irritating. Believe me, the stench of the cigarette smoke coming from the mouth is one of the worst things that can happen. When you're talking to a one-on-one or in a meeting, the problem here is because when people smoke, they tend to get used to the cigarette smoke. But then when you probably walk into a room, what happens is you'll be amazed that the stench of cigarette can just go down. And also, it gives an awkward kind of a feeling, because I know how it is when I'm talking to somebody who's just smoked and come. Believe me, I feel so repulsive and I don't feel like, kind of having a conversation now. But for me, a decade years before, it was a different story because I myself was a smoker. So if you're a boss, if you're listening, if you're in this meeting, believe me, you got to do everything possible if you're coming into a meeting or a one-on-one conversation, because it really puts off people the moment they kind of sit in front of you and try to have a discussion. Believe me, no kind of mint or whatever you kind of have, it can just mask to a certain extent, but still another 50-60% of the cigarette, the nicotine is still there, and it's very repulsive. So Nishant, I understand this, and also Nishant has brought in a very important topic here in terms of the passive smoking, because what happens here is most of the conversation I see with the people when they go out for a smoke break, sometimes they tend to have a discussion because they have a wrong notion that, probably over a cigarette or a chai or a coffee, probably a brain will think better. It cannot be, you cannot be more wrong in that. Why I'm telling you this is because passive smoking is one of the worst things you can do for your family, as well as friends, as well as colleagues. Now, why I'm telling you this is because, say, if you're having a conversation, I've done this many times because I have probably step out with people at one time, when I was not smoking in between the zones. I used to go out with people who used to smoke, and I used to generally have a conversation with them when they were smoking. And whatever said and done, the passive smoking is as bad. Now, I just want to bring it to one notice here that my team has done a fantastic, in terms of they pulled out a video here, which I would really like to share, because if you're a smoker, if you've got a team, and if you do this where you sometimes have a conversation with the team, I would really want you to watch this video, because for the simple reason that it's all about passive smoking and how passive smoking can be really harmful for not only you, but also your team members. So I would like to kind of share this video here, and please take a look at this. And I will kind of join you the moment it talks about passive smoking, why passive smoking is so bad, and then what is that causes. So lung cancer, chronic obstruction. How is not just a smoker who are at risk is what basically we all know. But are you aware why only the smoker is not at risk? Passive smoking is equally hazardous for health. That's what this says. Now, secondhand smoking could even cause sudden death in infants. Now, these are research-backed data which has been shown here by probably you can see here that Dr. Krish Kumar. Tobacco smoke is composed of nearly 4,000 different chemicals and what it can do. Now, passive smoking are mostly are to be blamed. If you're not a smoker and if you feel that you're spending some good time with your bosses who are smoking around, believe me, you should do everything to stay away from this. So this video talks about passive smoking and how probably it can do more damage to you and to people around you. So I'll just allow you to watch this for another couple of seconds. It's a very short video. Please go through this, and I'll come back and then continue to talk. This is exactly what I think Nishant should do. How do you ensure that you stop passive smoking? Absolutely. Limiting exposure to people who smoke, strict laws to provide smoke-free areas. I know that a lot of workplaces are doing that. But the best thing I would highly recommend is probably best advice you could give is tell your boss to quit. Look at Anurag Kashyap. He's like been chain smoker for 25 years. Jeez, I mean, that's a long time. I can imagine because I was myself a smoker, probably I can say a chain smoker for, in terms of a decade now. But I'm not sure, 25 years is a lot of time. So we're talking about here. So basically, Nishant, if I have answered your question, what I'm talking about is nothing but why passive smoking, when we have a conversation outside a cup of tea is what you said. And basically you're worried about the passive smoking. So my team thought, why not bring in a quick video where we also show some awareness about passive smoking. And then, you can probably use that learning to probably ensure that you do not expose yourself with your boss, right?